You're listening to China Africa Talk.
Jambo, ni Bridget akikuletea kipindi kinachohusiana na China na Afrika.
Vous écoutez le dialogue sino-africain avec Bridget.
Everything China, everything Africa.
Olá, você está ouvindo China Africa Talk com Bridget.
سيداتي وسادتي مرحبا بكم في الحوار الصيني العربي مع بريدجيت.
Welcome back to the program. This is China Africa Talk. I'm Bridget Mutambirwa, and I bring you discussions on what's happening with China and Africa from a Chinese and African perspective. Ghana has officially launched a Chinese language curriculum for basic, junior high and senior high schools, marking a significant step toward multilingual education and deeper Ghana-China cooperation. The new curriculum is designed to equip Ghanaian students with skills for global competitiveness, particularly in areas such as trade, diplomacy, technology, and international cooperation.
Currently, there have been a lot of Chinese companies springing up in Ghana. The influence of China now, it is very necessary that we introduce the Chinese language to cope with the current trends in terms of our relationship with China.
Ghana is not alone. Other African countries, including Nigeria, have also begun incorporating Chinese language studies into their national curricula. So, what is driving this rising interest in learning Chinese across the continent, and what long-term benefits could it bring for education, employment, and international engagement? To discuss these and more, I'm now joined by Reginald Quartey, Acting Director for Curriculum at Ghana's National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NaCCA. Mr. Quartey, thank you for joining us.
Hello, Bridget. Thank you for having me.
Mr. Quartey, Ghana's National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, NaCCA, has officially launched a Chinese language curriculum for its basic, junior and senior high schools. What drove this decision and why now?
Yeah, so over the few years, Ghana started revising its basic school to senior high school curriculum, and we currently are on a senior high school curriculum. And we felt it important to introduce the Chinese curriculum because of China's growing influence on the global level and also currently as a key development partner to Ghana. And so we feel it is time for us to prepare students to be able to compete globally in terms of trade, diplomacy, technology, and also international cooperation when it comes to our dealings with China.
Mr. Quartey, in announcing the launch, Chairman of the Governing Board of the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, Vincent Asanfu, said the Chinese language curriculum is designed to prepare Ghanaian learners for global competitiveness, particularly in trade, diplomacy, technology, and international cooperation. What does this reflect about the current state and future direction of China-Ghana relations?
Like I said earlier on, China's influence on the global stage is increasing currently. And currently, there have also been a lot of Chinese companies springing up in a lot of areas in Ghana and in a lot of sectors, from education to health to security and other sectors.
Right.
It has become imperative for us to be able to prepare our learners to be able to also support these Chinese companies who are establishing very fast when it comes to Ghana and also on the international level. And we also feel that it also would give our learners some kind of edge over others in terms of language acquisition. Currently, a lot of students study other foreign languages like French and Arabic and Spanish currently in Ghana.
Right.
French being the topmost one. Mm-hmm. But with the influence of China now coming up very fast, it is very necessary that we introduce the Chinese language for our learners to be able to cope with the current trends in terms of our relationship with China. That has been the motivation.
Could you briefly introduce Ghana's education system? What adaptations have been made to make sure the Chinese curriculum fits seamlessly into Ghana's Common Core program? I'd like to believe the current system is Western-based. What adaptations are being taken?
So Ghana operates a 664 education system.
Okay.
So what I mean by that is we have a 2-year kindergarten system. Then we have a primary system that's from primary 1 to primary 6.
Okay.
Then we have a secondary system of 6 years, but then it is broken into a 3-year junior high system, followed by a 3-year senior high system.
Okay.
Then after that, a 4-year degree or 2-year diploma, depending on the interest and the area that the learner wants to go.
Okay.
But yet, some too, after the senior high school, would want to go into the world of work straight away by getting into some form of apprenticeship or learning a trade to start their own businesses.
Right.
So basically, yes, we have a 6-year primary system, followed by a 3-year junior high school, 3 years senior high school, which makes it 6 years of secondary education.
Okay.
And then 4-year tertiary system.
Okay.
Basically, yes, our education system is modeled around the British system with some kind of variations.
Okay. What adaptations have been taken to make sure the Chinese curriculum fits seamlessly into Ghana's common core program?
So currently, so that the Chinese curriculum fits seamlessly into the Ghanaian system is to make sure that the Chinese curriculum framework is adapted to fit into our Ghanaian system, such that we looked at not only the content of the Chinese language, but we look at how to sync the Ghanaian culture and then Chinese culture. So it doesn't look as if we are transplanting the Chinese culture into the Ghanaian system, but look at which aspects of the Chinese culture helps to build on ours whilst learning the language.
For example, maybe you can give some examples, like how?
Yes, so in terms of culture, we look at what kind of values that the Chinese have that we can leverage on to make our education better, and also to train learners who have the kind of values and integrity and great, etc., that is making the Chinese economy and the Chinese people advance at the rate at which they are advancing.
Okay.
So those are the kind of value systems that, yes, whilst learning the language, we want also our learners to imbibe.
Okay. All right. And when you were analyzing and when you thought, okay, language to add in, did you find any similarities to say, okay, maybe Chinese values, they've got family values, maybe that could be similar to ours and stuff like that?
Definitely, yes. We see such cross-cutting values between Ghana and China. We see the Chinese as people who are very hardworking, very accommodating, and in terms of even the food that we eat, we see the Chinese eat our food and we eat their food. If you look at the kind of staples we eat, they're not that different from that of what the Chinese eat. And the Chinese who are coming here are able to integrate into our system very quickly because of some of these staples that we eat and the kind of way we accommodate each other. So yes, in terms of our value systems, I said earlier, we are looking at the values that promote the aspirations of both countries. So in terms of things like integrity, in terms of being truthful, in terms of being resilient in the kind of things we do, make us succeed. And especially in terms of the resilience, that is what we are looking at, to see how the Chinese have been able to be resilient in all of the kind of hardships and whatever, to now be a superpower in the world. And it is one thing that we want our learners to cultivate.
And what concrete measures are in place to ensure effective nationwide implementation, particularly in terms of teacher training?
In terms of the rollout, we don't expect that instantly the rollout covers the whole of the country at a time and in that massive nature. So currently the rollout has taken place, and then there are schools that have been targeted.
Okay.
These schools are the schools that we are starting with.
Okay.
And the Confucius Center at the University of Cape Coast has trained a number of teachers in the Chinese language. And so we're starting with schools that can have teachers to start with the program.
Okay.
And as we go along, we expand into more schools. And then the University of Cape Coast and other universities, the University of Ghana and the University of Science and Technology, that have other Confucius centers, definitely are teaming up together to see how to train more teachers to expand the scope of this program. So, yes, the launching of the program does not mean that we are saying that, yes, so we have rolled out the language in all schools and currently all schools can run the program. No, officially, it has been launched. And so the schools that have the facilities and the teachers can start running the Chinese language program. So that is what it means. Again, like I said, these Chinese Confucius centers in Ghana are doing a great deal of work by training more teachers to be able to handle this program. What we're looking at in the coming days or in the coming years is to roll out these teacher training programs in the colleges of education.
All right.
So that we can have more teachers coming up to join the ones that we have now. I know that, yes, it is not a day's job. And it is not going to happen suddenly. Yes, because even with the French language, where we have studied French for a long time, we still have some schools that don't have full complement of French teachers.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing for us is that, yes, we have started a process and we see the process grow and we see it expanding. So we have a lot more schools expressing the interest to enroll on the program to teach their students the Chinese language, whilst looking for opportunities and avenues to employ a lot more qualified Chinese teachers who can teach the Chinese language to beef up their staff.
Okay, so the teachers, are they Chinese or it's mixed?
Oh no, it's mixed. So the University of Cape Coast has over the years trained a number of teachers of Chinese who are Ghanaian.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Some who have been trained in the University of Ghana and the University of Cape Coast. Some who have had scholarships to go out of Ghana to China to go learn the language, to come back to Ghana to teach. So it's a mixed blend of teachers coming to take up the job.
I'd like to believe it's easier to maybe start with kindergarten, starting with the babies, and then it develops to older ages. I think kids pick up language faster than adults.
You are right. So, like I said, because we are starting, so before launching of the program, some schools had already started trialing teaching the language, right? It's not all schools that started maybe at the kindergarten level, but by looking at Chinese clubs and then putting in students who develop the interest. But now, as the Chinese curriculum has been launched, teaching of the language is going to start from the very basic level, say from kindergarten through primary, and then progress up to senior high school level. So it is not going to be just that the teaching of the language will be done through Chinese clubs as it started earlier. But now the process has been formalized. And so with the coming out of trained Chinese teachers, the program starts right from kindergarten through primary, junior high school, senior high school, and then they progress as to whichever level they want to study the subject to.
Okay. Now, based on early observations, what feedback has emerged from schools, teachers, students, or parents so far?
I can say that the feedback has been great and encouraging.
Okay.
Especially judging from last year when the Confucius Center in the University of Cape Coast celebrated their 10th anniversary. So we had a lot of students coming to show what they are able to do with the Chinese language. We had a lot of parents coming to the program. We had a lot of Chinese companies coming to the anniversary. Yes, because, like I said, I've said earlier on, there are a lot of Chinese interest in Ghana now.
Yes,
there are a lot of Chinese businesses that are coming now.
Yes.
So some of these students are the ones who are doing interpretations for these Chinese companies, right? And so there are Chinese companies who are supporting the Confucius Center to be able to produce more students who are versatile in the use of the Chinese language now.
Yeah.
So, yes, it has been great from the point of policymakers, from parents, from teachers, and even from communities where these schools are located.
Mr. Quartey, and how significant is foreign language proficiency in today's Ghanaian job market, and where does Chinese fit within that broader skills landscape? I know in my country, if you have an extra language, that's definitely a plus. How's the case in Ghana?
Yeah, so Bridget, like you've said, yes, if you are studying a local language, yes, it is good because it gets you to be able to communicate within your setting. But you realize that the scope the language travels is limited as compared to some foreign languages. Yes, not that we look down on our language, but we're looking at the scope and how far across the world the language can go.
Right, that's right.
And currently, like I said, the Chinese are all over the world now, and they are all over many countries now. So if you are a student who is seeking for employment and you have English, which is our official language that everybody speaks, and you have another language, which is Chinese, or say French, but now we are discussing Chinese. So let me say Chinese. It puts you on a level where you can compete a lot more or more favorably on the international level than somebody who hasn't got that competence in the Chinese language now. Yes, like I also mentioned that it might not be from the start as a boom or a big something that is massive, but with time,
yes,
with the current trend of where global trade is going and the kind of engagement we are having with donor partners who are coming into the country, the prospect of learning the Chinese language is very high. It looks very promising for learners who spend their time to study the language.
Ever wondered what's actually going on in Africa through the perspective of an African? How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from African diplomats, entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get on our wavelength every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on your favorite podcast. We'll see you there. Mr. Quartey, Ghana joins other African countries, including Nigeria, in incorporating Chinese language studies into national curricula. What is driving this growing interest across the continent, and what long-term benefits could it bring?
Yeah, so Bridget, sometimes there are some realities that we can't run away from. And it is one of such is like I said, the influence of the Chinese on the African continent now. And so it is a good thing that we are able to interact more effectively with them through studying the language. And I believe that, yes, we stand to benefit a lot because it is not only in our countries where the Chinese language is gaining roots, but it's gaining roots across the world.
Right.
And a lot of our business partners these days, and businessmen these days, are going to China and doing a lot of import-export with the Chinese people.
Right.
There are a lot of our student people who are also going to China to do further studies. Studying the language, yes, has a long-term effect, not only on the personal level, but also our various countries stand to benefit a lot from the effort and the resources we are putting in to make our learners study the Chinese language, if I should say so.
Mr. Quartey, Chinese government scholarships and education exchanges have grown in popularity among Ghanaian students. Even in my country, households that have a university student, most of the times you'd actually find the student is actually studying in China. What factors are behind this trend? And how do these programs complement domestic education goals? Let's start in the case of Ghana. What could be the factor behind this trend?
You know, funding education in a lot of African countries has been a challenge for government. And so we have private sector coming in to support training of our students. And so scholarship that is coming from China definitely will ease the pressure on government and other people who support our education. And currently there's been, yes, the collaboration between a number of universities in Ghana and then some universities in China. So currently, I know of the University of Cape Coast and the Hunan University, and having that collaboration where students from the University of Cape Coast, go to the Hunan University to learn the Chinese language and then other subjects. It's not only in the terms of Chinese language, but in terms of in other fields, right? Technology, engineering, medicine. Students have had the opportunity to have Chinese scholarship to go study and come back to help development in Ghana. And so, yes, it is a good thing that is happening to us because, like I've said, it will help ease the pressure on finding support for students entirely by or solely by central government. And this has come at an opportune time, especially when a lot more students are being turned out in our various universities who need some form of resources or scholarship to go study in other areas where we lack expertise in our local settings. And so the collaboration between the two countries stemming from the study of the subject and then now moving into other sectors is very commendable, and we hope that the relationship will grow stronger for many more students to benefit from such scholarship schemes.
Mr. Quartey, can you speak Chinese yourself? Have you learnt a few words?
Because I've been involved in the Chinese curriculum. Yes, we learned a few words.
Okay, so if one student has to have a challenge learning, you'll understand, eh?
Oh, yes.
Or if your children or a family member has a challenge with learning the language, you'll be able to have compassion and say, no, take your time.
Oh, yes, that's very right, Bridget. That's very right, because it is not that easy. Sometimes, yes, you see some students also struggling to learn the language because they learn and practically they don't have the chance of interacting with a lot of people.
Yes.
And that's one of the challenges too. But the kind of activities the Confucius Center has been doing with the schools they engage with give the children the opportunity to engage other students who are studying Chinese, and also either other schools in terms of, say, doing collaborative programs, engaging in quizzes and other competitions in Chinese. And so that boosts or gives them the edge to keep going on and keep doing their best.
It reminds me of when I first came to China. I tried to study Chinese for 3 years. I agree with you where you say if there's no interaction, it becomes a bit difficult sometimes, because what I'll do is I'll go to school in the mornings, and then in the evenings, I'm speaking my native language, or I'm speaking in English with my family, and I'm not talking to anyone. And of course, I lacked the confidence. Of course, I tried to practice speaking, on the subway or if I meet some people, but then again, the lack of confidence. So I ended up stronger in the listening, but in speaking and writing, that's a zero. I should move to Ghana and learn some Chinese. Okay, just to continue our discussion there, Mr. Quartey, the Confucius Institute at the University of Cape Coast has celebrated 10 years of excellence in Chinese language education. Could you walk us through some of the Institute's achievements over the past decade?
So, yes, Bridget, I think some of the achievements over the past decades is that the Institute has been able to train a lot of students and equipping them with the Chinese language skills, and then also with a deeper understanding of the Chinese culture.
Okay.
So over the past decade, the Confucius Center has trained a lot of students, and many of such students are the foundational Chinese language teachers. And again, this crop of students have been very beneficial to the Chinese community in that they serve as resource people when it comes to interpretation of the Chinese language, especially at very high profile engagements in terms of business and governance. So in that regard, the center has been very helpful. Again, the center has also facilitated a two-way exchange program for students and scholarships between Ghana and China. Now, and these students who have the opportunity to go have scholarships to go study in these Chinese universities have become lifelong ambassadors of friendship for both countries. Again, the university has become a hub for the study of the Chinese language and then coordinating the study of the Chinese language. It is the center that has put in a lot of resources to make sure that the study of Chinese took off in Ghana, and then also now has done so much that we've been able to put a Chinese curriculum together and also launch the curriculum to take off in all levels of education in Ghana now. It has also established a collaboration between the University of Cape Coast and then the Hunan City University. And what, again, it does is to, again, enhance issue of students exchange and collaboration. Then again, the center has become a vibrant hub for dialogue, innovation, and collaboration within the university and the wider university community.
Okay.
In that it organizes Chinese programs, and members of the community have the chance to come and then take part in. It also organizes programs for the schools that are studying the Chinese language, so that it organizes quizzes for primary schools, for secondary schools, so students can come and have that interaction. Mm-hmm. And like I said earlier on, if you learn the language without any interaction, then become then the zeal will die down.
Right.
But with these activities that the center engages in, it makes the students and the learners of the Chinese language very vibrant. They see that they are not only learning the language in isolation, but definitely there's a use for which the language is being studied. And it has also it's also challenged other universities that are now thinking of establishing such centers across other universities. And I know that in the coming years, we'll have a lot more Confucius centers in other universities and also other colleges of education, all of which has been the hard work that the Confucius Center at the University of Cape Coast has put in.
Now, just to wind off our discussion there, Mr. Quartey, the Beijing Action Plan 2025 to 2027, developed at the 2024 summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation, demonstrates China's continued commitment to educational partnerships with African countries. What opportunities is Ghana seeking under this framework?
So the opportunities under the Beijing Action Plan, I think first and foremost is that Ghana is seeking for a lot more educational partnerships where students can have the opportunity to go on exchanges. Most importantly, also collaborate in terms of research. Research not only in the area of the study of the Chinese language, but in critical areas of every sector in the country, in terms of the health sector, security,
Right.
The business sector. Yes. So we are seeking that, yes, our students would have that opportunity and become very competitive when it comes to engagement on the global level.
Mm-hmm.
So it not come across as just learning the language just because we want to speak the Chinese language, but then it will enhance everything that we do across every sector in the life of the Ghanaian people.
Well, that brings us to the end of this discussion. Many thanks again there, Mr. Quartey. Congratulations and all the best.
Thank you, Bridget, for having me.
Listeners, you can subscribe to our online newsletter on CGTN or Substack to get more insights on China-Africa relations. Just search China-Africa Talk. For now, it's goodbye. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others. Post it on social media or leave a rating and review. Thanks again. See you next time.